Good morning. I'm Arpita. I'm truly excited to welcome you to this special online interview session. Today, I have the pleasure of speaking with you, and you written a beautiful poetry, the author of Line, a beautiful poetry collection, us into space between simply existing and truly living. Thank you so much, Nazmin, for joining me today. We are so excited to hear you about your journey, your writing processes, and the stories behind these heartfelt poems. Shall we dive right?
Yes,
Okay, fine.
please.
First, my question is upon about the book. Let's start with the title, Life in Between. It's such an evocative name. What inspired you to choose this title?
Okay. First of all, I would like to say thank you for having me. So, Life in Between, it has always been a very thoughtful title for me because, as you know, that life is too, too long to live. There's so many memories in between. So either we are living, we are working hard, or we are having fun with our family and friends, and there are so many moments that comes in between. So I think it is a process. When you are a student, you are a teach you are in a working profession, so there comes certain phases in your life that you might wonder, like you might think that when you're studying that life is so much fun. I wish we were adults and all that. And when we are when we are in the adulthood, we start saying life was fun as teenagers. I wish we were students again. So life in between is like a living between all those moments where you are growing and you are learning things and you're living at the same time.
Yeah, very beautiful. Uh, my second question is to you that you have explored themes like heartbreak, grief, healing, and quite resilience. Was there a central emotion or question that guided you through the writing processes?
Okay. Certainly there was. When we talk about, heartbreaks or, moments, when we talk about emotions, sometimes it not only comes from a place where, talk about the love between two partners, but it also comes from friendships. As you know, when we are growing up as teenagers, there are certain phases in our life where we make a lot of friends, and then some of them leaves us, and we are left alone sometimes. And there comes a part where you are all alone sometimes. There might be friends who have left you, and you sometimes you have a lot of friends that you can rely on, and all of a sudden you don't have anyone at all. There comes phases like that. So, and as teenagers, we are always dealing with this kind of emotions. So I think that was what evoked me, and I have been, when you're writing some poems, it's always this feeling that take you as nostalgia. I say that you are always thinking about some things and you're relating to the present, and you feel that there are times when you want some people around you because emotionally you are quite unavailable, and you want supposedly a best friend. We want our best friend to be there for us so that we can rely on them. So there are certain moments like this that has compiled me and has bonded me to this point, and where I wrote this. And I feel that we there are so many teenagers or so many adults who can actually relate to this point, that we all of a sudden, there might be you might be in a room full of people, but sometimes yet you will feel alone. And sometimes if you are even alone, you feel very content, you feel very happy. So it's not about having too many people around you, but how you are dealing with the emotions. And I think it also means that there are certain battles that you have to fight on your own. You heal on your own. You cannot always be dependent on people. So sometimes there are, journeys that we are fighting all alone, in our dark room, sitting at night, thinking about life, and we are just dealing with it ourselves. We're dealing with the emotions ourselves. We are explaining to ourselves that it's okay. We're motivating ourselves. Okay, you will do it. So, in a way to process those thoughts and feelings, we write down. As poets, we write down, because sometimes when you can't share, you just write. So this is how it came to be. And I thought maybe there are so many people that can really relate to this.
Yeah, yeah, that's the life.
Yes, that is.
So my next question is to you that out of all the poems in life in between, which one feels the most personal or vulnerable to you, and why?
Okay. Um, there is a poem I wrote about my puppy, my dog. That is the most vulnerable to me, because I remember when I was a teenager, I was in the hostel, and my parents, bought a very cute puppy Labrador. And he was like a part of me, like my family, my everything. Because when we were teenagers, now that I have grown up, it seems so funny, right? When we were teenagers, we are in the rebellious phases. Like anything our parents say or anyone says, that we are just starting to rebel, and we feel like you know everyone is trying to be against us. We don't have anyone in this world. We come start feeling this well, because those teenagers emotions. And I had this phase in my life where I was disconnected from everything, like my friends and everything, because there are times when you find some fake friends, like they pretend to be your friends, but they are not actually friends. They just try to exploit you and everything. So there are certain things like that. And my puppy was with me during that time. I still remember, I used to hug him and I used to cry. And I think during I think 2020, he passed away, and I was not there. I was away from home. My Because I was so attached to him, my parents didn't tell me he passed away. They told me like 4 5 days after. And I remember I cried a lot. I cried a lot. I cried, like I was crying the entire night. I couldn't stop. And even if I picture him, I see a picture of him, or even if I see a Labrador anywhere, those tears will still come running. So I feel more vulnerable with that poem, because um, I wrote it for him and in honor of him, like the way he stood there for me. Because human beings might turn your backs, but dogs will never turn their backs. Once you touch them very kindly, you feed them, they will make you the entire world, that they'll never go back against, they'll never show you their backs. So I think that was the point that makes me vulnerable.
Wow, so sweet. Means you are so connected with your puppy, right?
Yeah,
Your
I'm a
dog.
true dog lover, actually.
That saddest part of your life when
Yeah,
you know that.
it was
Oh,
very heartbreaking for me. I think I did not know how to process that, because uh, I could not even imagine, that is the part of life. But we know they will leave us someday, but I didn't know it was so soon. So that really had me vulnerable. Yeah.
okay. My next question is upon a creative process that were there any poems that were particularly difficult to write or maybe especially healing for you to write?
Uh, when we are writing some poems, um, mostly the poems that talk about heartbreaks, or that talks about how you being vulnerable, because that becomes a very hard to write, because when you're writing, you're living that process again, because supposedly something happened, it may be a heartbreak, or maybe that something emotional trauma happened, and then you're trying to vent out, you're writing this poem, but then you're living that those memories again, you're going through those poems again just to write it. So that becomes a little traumatic. Other than that, yeah, when I'm writing, the process of healing, it also gives me energy, it also gives me strength. Like, okay, now I can deal with those feelings, like some things that I wanted to escape from, I can deal with it. I can confront those feelings or emotions, and I'm strong enough to write it. And I'm also writing about how I'm letting go of all those emotions, how I have forgiven everything, and I have moved on with my life. So that becomes a healing process, that you remind yourself, okay, these things have happened in your life, but life goes on, and you can also heal on yourself. So it becomes a journey. You are breaking your heart, or you're becoming emotionally distressed, and at the same time you're also writing about the healing journey, how you have taken time to heal. So it becomes a process. Yeah.
Very nice. My next question. Many of your poems carry the weight of silence and unspoken feelings. Do you believe poetry gives voice to what prose or ordinary speech can't always express?
Well, yes, I do believe that, because I have always noticed, like, even if you have noticed, there are some, maybe some, friends or some classmates of yours. They'll be very quiet. They'll not be very talkative. They'll be very quiet. Same time, you will also understand that they write. Even some of your friends, or maybe people, who are not very vocal, they tend to express themselves through writing their poetry, and their poetry will be the deepest. If you look, some I have some friends, they were like, they'll write shairis, and I and I can't even describe how deep they write, and you'll be like, they're so quiet, they're so, and you can't even imagine they write such deep poems. So I feel that not everyone is very vocal through words, so they write. And I think words are very strong. They can have a very deep impact on you, because I sometimes, because if I say something to you, you might not understand it, but when you're reading it somewhere, it actually leaves a very great impact on you, and you carry it with you, for the later part of your life. So I think, yeah, it connects a lot.
Wow. My question. The imagery in your poems is so vivid and lyrical. Rain, stars, ghosts, silence. What role do nature and metaphor play in your work?
Okay. I think I believe that nature. I'm a nature lover, and I love to sit, look at the stars, or and I really like to relate a lot, because nature can be very calm and at the same time very disastrous. They can be both. Sometimes you would like to sit by the window and enjoy the rain, because the slow rain, the slow wind, and you would like to have a cup of
Right.
coffee or chai. Yeah. But sometimes you'll have this thunderstorm and you'll just have to close all the doors and run. So I think emotions are like that. Like sometimes when you are very happy, you are very calm, we are like the light breezy rain. But sometimes when we are angry, we are like thunderstorms, like people have to run. So I think I really connect myself, and I feel that you when you relate yourself with the nature, when you show yourself in a metaphorically way, to the present, to the audience, they can connect more. Because I think almost everyone is a nature lover. Either you would love the rain or you'll hate the rain, but at least you will love the sky, night sky. You will find yourself looking at the clouds, or you'll find yourself looking at the stars. Sometimes people just sit in the open sky and look at the stars, at the moon, because the moon is shining so brightly, and you will feel like this is so beautiful, this is serene, this is so peaceful. So I want to sit like this for the entire life, because there's so much silence in the moon and the stars, but yet there are so many things that they tell you about the calmness in your life. So I think that's why I relate a lot to this nature, and I feel that they also represents your nature as well.
Um, that means we are very connected to nature because
Yeah,
it's natural.
yeah, definitely. But
Okay. My next question is to you. While writing this book, who did you your reader?
I think when there is this very funny incident that happened when you're writing something. You are always wondering, like you are the only one. You write because you are the only one. But then
Yeah, yeah.
what happens is all of a sudden you realize that there are so many other people feeling the same thing, and then you realize you're not alone in this world feeling those feelings. There's some people, who actually feels that way. Or you can see, when
Yes,
you're scrolling through social media, you find some relatable memes and you realize that, okay, no, we are not the only one feeling those things. There are already more people who are feeling those things, and that's why we can relate. So then I realized, okay, there are certain people who can feel this way. So my readers are definitely for those people who are, struggling through these emotions and they feel that life is over. Mostly, the teenagers part, we feel like life is over and these are the things that happened and all that. So once we have a heartbreak and everything, like life is over. But then it's for those people that no, life just started. Now you get to relive a new version of yourself and you emerge as a new person. It gives you more strength than we know. It gives you an entire persona. You come out of that shell and you look to, the world in a very different, with a different view, and then you understand, okay, so I now sometimes when we look back, we thought what we promised during our childhood, "Oh, okay, we'll do this, we'll do that," and then all of a sudden we look back and we like how stupid of us, we thought we'd end up somewhere, but we are doing this. But this is life, it takes you somewhere unexpected, but it makes you better than you have ever thought. So it is for those readers who feel that life is over, but no, it's not. Life has just started.
wow. One line is there. I love the dedication to the soul stuck between holding on and letting go. What message do you hope these readers will take away from the work?
Okay, I think mm, you know we have always had a big difficulty of letting go of some things. Sometimes when people we are offended by some things, we always feel like, okay, we cannot forgive, you know and then we see that the other person is doing very happy, but we are, in that we are still stuck in that place. And
Yes, yes,
I have been there, I have been stuck in that place for a longer period of time. And one thing I realized is, it's not those people who are they were never, I think they were never interested in it. It's us, it's us who are still stuck in that place because we have not forgiven. So I have learned to forgive, not to forget, but forgive. So there is a very vast difference between forgiving and forgetting. Never forget what someone did to you, but forgive them for your own sake. Once you forgive what the other person did, you are actually letting go of those feelings that you have been holding on. And once you let go, you realize life becomes so much easier. You feel that, okay, like, I was holding on to those feelings and that was actually hurting me. Once you let go, you feel like, okay, it was very simple, now it doesn't even matter. you know what was it? No, then you all of a sudden you are, in peace with yourself. Your heart feels lighter. So I have learned this the harder way. It took me years. I would be stuck in one place. I would not forgive, and I would like, how did I was always kind? How did the person do this to me? But this is your nature to be kind, and you cannot expect everyone to be kind. So forgive the
yeah,
person, but never forget what the person did. Because once you forget what someone did and you keep repeating, then you are a foolish person. There's no more turning back. Because you need to forgive, but you cannot forget what one person did, so that you don't end up yourself, again in that path. So yes, that's what I have learned.
wow. It means this is the best part of yours, which all we learn from you. Means
Thanks so much. Yeah.
very connected word. So always forgive, but don't.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
My next question to you: have you received any reactions or feedback from yearly readers that really surprised or moved you?
Well, yes, I had. I had one, like, I have a Instagram page where I used to post quotes, you know, like a 3 a.m. talker, and like I would wake up, I would be awake in the night, like insomniac, and I would write at night, when there are thoughts pouring out, I'll write down. So there's this one person who had bought my book and read the poems, and took time to specially text me, on Instagram, find me on Instagram and text me. It was very heartwarming because, I read the entire message, and I was really moved because even if there is one person in this world that you have actually touched, someone's heart, or someone who actually could relate to your poems, it actually makes you very happy as a, writer, that okay, readers could connect, like I when you write, you're writing, imagining something, right? And when the people are reading it, they imagine themselves in that place, and when they do it, it makes you really happy as a reader. And the person said that they could relate a lot, and that what I wrote was, touch their hearts. And that was the best thing about the poetry, that when someone reaches out, they take time to read. It means a lot. So yes, that was very heartwarming for me.
Great. Uh, you choose to self-publish with Bookly Publishing. What was that experience like for you?
For me, that experience was very, very heartwarming. And I think I've always wanted to publish. Like I used to publish like in an anthology, like when other poets are publishing, and I would publish 4 poems of my own, and in a book I'll compile with different authors. I used to publish like that. But I always wanted a book of my own where I have my own theme, my own journey. When you're reading the poems, you'll go through my journey from heartbreaks and healing, and then finding peace in my life. So I really wanted that in my life, and so when I did that, it was very. I It doesn't matter if I'm selling a lot of copies or not. It doesn't matter. What matters for most is I completed that book. I wrote it. I have published it. That is like an achievement for me. And it takes small steps, to for then a giant leap. So I think that was the start. I think.
Wow. What advice would you give to other aspiring poets who feel hesitant or scared to share their work with the world?
Okay. I think, as I have said, take small steps at a time. There's always, the need for writers in this world. We always need writers in this world. It's very, I think, it is very heart aching that people uh, stop, give their, works to themselves, because I think there are lots of, especially in times like this, when people are, emotionally. Uh, I think very in the emotions that they carry, they keep it to themselves and they write. And I know a lot of people in this world, they write, and but they're keeping it to themselves. Either they're keeping it in their diaries or their phone notepads. But I think the world needs to see those poems. And I think even if one person is, feeling relatable there to that things, then I think you're making a change. So don't hesitate, write. Who cares? It should be you who cares. Other than that, doesn't matter. You just need to write and, put your works out there.
Yeah, nice. And how did you deal with creative doubt or fear of judgment while writing or thinking this?
I think, as a writer, you always have those that feeling in your mind, in the back of your mind, right? What if people are not be able to relate? What would happen if, it doesn't go the way you want? So I think there is always this feeling that will keep overpowering. But I don't think that should always come in between when you're publishing or something. That should never come. I think. This feelings also makes you a better person, because the one you once you read according to, when you're writing, you have completed writing and you start reading it again as a critic.
Okay, question to you is looking back so beautiful, so nice.
Thank
Nazmin, thank you so much for sharing us thoughts, feelings, and insights with us today. It's been an absolute pleasure hearing the story behind Life in Between. So thank you. Once again, thank you, Nazmin,
thank
and
you so
have a
much.
wonderful day.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much, and I really appreciate you taking your time to, be here with me, and it really gives me, an immense pleasure to be here sharing my story. And thank you so much for giving your time as well, because I understand time means a lot. So thank you so much. Okay,
Have a wonderful day.
you too. Thank